Oh god! That is quite the thumbnail for the episode, I'm gonna be honest here, holy shit. Oh my god! So, after about 10 weeks of live reviewing this new Higurashi anime, I've learned one thing. I'm not good at live reviews of currently airing shows, because I am so flip-floppity, because last week, I was all disappointed and said, oh, this episode was not as good as I expected it to be, to this week being, this episode was awesome and it went past my expectations. I'm slowly warming up to episode 9 after last week's video. I'm slowly warming up to it, so yeah, I could change my thoughts. I could change my thoughts. I'm actually warming up to episode 9. Like, it makes sense. Episode 9 makes sense. And this episode 10, it's really good, and for once, we actually have a slower pace. Last episode was a super fast pace, while this episode, kind of the slow pace that I wanted. I'm gonna be honest here, this slow pace they had for this episode 10, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the slow pace they had for this episode. And the beginning scene, where Keiichi dreams about his murder of Teppei, I'm gonna be honest here, I kind of laughed during that scene. Like, that was the low point of this episode. Like, the only low point of this episode was the beginning scene where Keiichi dreams about beating up Teppei, because I am going to be the one to say it. The animation in that scene was kind of hilarious. A lot of the scenes that they adapted were amazing. Like, the scenes that they practically took from Tatara-Goroshi, and they even took some scenes from Mina-Goroshi. I'm going to get to that soon, but the scenes they took from Tatara-Goroshi and Mina-Goroshi, they worked really well. Like, the scene where Ooishi was talking to Keiichi in front of the school, I'm gonna say this now, that was a really tense scene. Even though Ooishi is fucking cursed, he definitely was super intimidating in that scene. I'm gonna be honest here. He was, like, really intimidating, and when Irie talked to Keiichi about, Satoko's situation with her aunt and uncle, well, her uncle mostly, since her aunt kinda got killed the previous year, from what Irie had told him, but the scene where Irie explains to Keiichi Satoko's situation, that was also really well paced. Like, the pacing of this episode, like, the main reason why I like this episode, it was well paced. And yes, you could definitely tell that Rika is practically suffering in this arc. Like, in this episode, you can see Rika suffering, because she knows that these are the timelines that they're the most fucked in. And also, the scene that they took from Mina-Goroshi was the scene where Chie actually goes to the Hojo residence. Now, from what I remember from Tatara-Goroshi, Chie calls the consultation center before, actually visiting the house. But in this anime, she went to the Hojo residence before she called the child consultation center. So yeah, that was basically something that I noticed that was something from Mina-Goroshi that they did for Tatari Damashi, and it works! It works! Like, it gives an indication that this is not Tatari Goroshi, this is Tatari Damashi, a thing that I totally forgot last week. And now, let's talk about the final scene. The scene where Satoko reacts to Keiichi attempting to pat her on the head. That scene practically made me give this episode a 10 out of 10. This is my first 10 out of 10 for, GOU. Well, it wasn't that scene alone. The scenes before that were really well. Like, it was giving this episode a solid 9 out of 10. But the final scene gave this a 10 out of 10. It practically gave you the same feelings that the visual novel gave you in that same exact scene. The way they portrayed Satoko's reaction basically gave me the same feeling that I had when I was reading this scene in the visual novel. Like, the absolute shock and silence that I felt is still happening to me right now while I remember the scene. So yeah, that scene definitely gave this episode a 10 out of 10. Like, the previous scenes, that was a 9 out of 10. This ending scene alone was a 10 out of 10, just due to how well it was made. Even though the animation may not be, ungodly levels of animation, like, it was not, like, the best animation, but the way it was presented is what made it super good. I'm never one to, judge a show based on the animation of a scene. I'm the one to judge how it is presented. And that last scene was presented really well. So yes, everyone, that was episode 10 of Higurashi When They Cry Go. And, of course, the 10th episode got a 10 out of fucking 10. Oh my god. And before I end this video, I will state I am aware of the Satoko conspiracies. I'm aware of them, but I'm gonna play this kind of, view. I'm gonna play this view. Satoko's not the culprit. I'm gonna play this view while watching the show. I know that Satoko definitely gives off a lot of suspicious vibes, but I think that's a thing of deception that Rikichi's trying to do. He's trying to get us all to think that Satoko is the other person in the time loop. But I don't think it's actually Satoko. And who do I think is in a time loop? Rena. I think Rena's in the time loop. Rena's also been acting kinda suspicious throughout these few arcs. Especially when she stares at Takano and Tomitake. It could be that she was remembering. Or she could be the one also in a loop instead of Satoko. A deception. The character that we think is in a loop is not in a loop, and the character that we overlooked is actually in the loop. So for now, I'm going to be making the prediction of Rena is in the loop and not Satoko.
Okay.